Alright guys, what's up? It's Chris. Welcome back to VHP Engines. I'm going to take a few minutes here to talk about something I kind of mentioned briefly during the live stream. Said that I was going to pick up a donated K-swap. Despite my influx of K20A3s, which is kind of like the non-VTEC single cam of the K series. This is something I just definitely couldn't pass up just because of the level of completion of this swap and the transmission. And the more I've been thinking about it, the more hype I've been getting recently, especially after having that brand new fucking CSS block dropped on me. I've mentioned before doing a Turbo K for Del Sol, which is kind of ironic because this is what he wanted to put it in. It was a Del Sol. Or he says CRX in the video, but I know I've also talked to him before and he mentioned Del Sol. So anyway, the whole thing is I've decided that I'm gonna keep one of these A3s that I have, or that I'm gonna be having, and I'm gonna use one to go balls out, man. I'm gonna try to go for my first 500 plus horsepower build. Now there is a chance that okay, so the CSS block is gonna go in the Integra after it's finished. I don't plan on selling my suicide block, so I'm going to keep that too. And eventually maybe I could try to push that up into the 500 range or close to it. But I really want to do 500 plus, like clearly beyond 500. And I've decided that this K is the best route. I feel the most comfortable taking the sleeves to that. And just want to see where it goes. I just want to see how much I can make on pump, see how close I can get to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these K20A3s, and I'm actually going to send it out to get machined. I'm going to go 5 over, do 86.5, get everything cleaned up as perfectly as possible. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because, like I've said to you guys a whole bunch of times, that once you cross that line, once you cross that 500 horsepower line, shit gets real. It's a whole nother ball game. It's a different level of power, and I want to make sure that it's as consistent as possible. And I've thrown together plenty of blocks over the time and made multiple 400 horsepower engine setups with just pistons and rods and stock sleeves or stock bore or whatever. But I will admit that I respect the 500 horsepower barrier enough that I really want to go out of my way to spend the extra money, and I will have this one of these A3 blocks machined. And then so now comes this the point of saving up for the money, saving up the money for the big money parts. It's going to cost me in the 500 or the high 400 horsepower, $400 range for the pistons I'm looking at, and the rods are going to be on the cheap side, 300 something. Because I'm going to grab a set of skunk 2s, and the fucking I'm going to need to buy an A2 crank, but I might buy that last. I might actually buy pistons first, rod second, crank last, just because of the fact that I got so much on my hands right now while I'm here in West Virginia that this block won't be finished until I get to Florida. So there's always a chance that I could pick up a crank there pretty cheap. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to play this message and I'll talk about a little bit more about the trip I have planned for this weekend coming.
Hey Chris, what's up, man? Here's the K20A3. I've already done some stuff to it before we even talked, man. Like removing caps and the coils and shit, the exhaust manifold. The AC unit, as you can see back there, it's still got the top cover for the actual just bullshit cover. Wiring harnesses back there. I will say that the wiring harness, when it was, let's see if we can see it. I don't even know where it is in all of this jumbled stuff. But the end that it actually connects to the main harness clip to the firewall was, whenever they took this out of the car, they just cut that right there. So, I mean, all the plugs and everything are there, but you'd have to rewire each one of those wires to the main connector and then connect it into the firewall. I've got some other shit in here for a Honda Del Sol. But, as you can see, she's there. Everything is there. I'm not sure. I don't think the alternator I have. But everything else I believe is there. And like I said, man, it's all you. I just don't have the time to fuck with it and the money to put it in my fucking CRX. And so it's all yours, brother. I'm going to start tearing it down later.
All right, so like I said, level of completion here is much farther along than everything I have. I have a relatively complete K20A3 long block out there, but I'm probably going to turn that into something else. I haven't 100% decided. I guess I am playing with the idea, like I mentioned, going and getting ITR pistons for it and just do like a stock ITR rebuild. But I also have that A2 block out there with Yogi and his friend Freddie, and what I'm kind of doing is kind of chilling back and waiting to see how that goes, because the compression difference between the stock A2 and the ITR pistons are 0.5. It's like 1101 for K20A2 pistons, and it is 1151 for ITR. So I don't really think that's that big of enough increase of in compression to really go out. Like, the reason why I used the A2 pistons to begin with is because I got the A2 pistons in a trade. I didn't have to pay out money for that, so it wasn't a big deal. But because I'm not in a place where I can swap around a lot of Honda parts, A2 pistons aren't going to be cheap. I would have to buy a set for $100, and the same thing would be ITR. And I'm kind of debating on the worth of even doing that. I am going to tear down that K20A3, but I don't know, man. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with that. I might just refurb the head and sell it on eBay, and same thing with the crank, and just strip that extra K20A3 down to like a block. You know, sell the rotating assembly, clean up, sell the rotating assembly, and just keep the block and, you know, the time cover and, you know, things I need for the block, and maybe the intake manifold and stuff like that. But yeah, I still am playing with the idea what I'm going to do with that. I know for a fact I'm going to assemble the V18 and put that in the car in the ITR, and I am going to go ahead and finish and run the ITR, the GSR in the Integra right now. I need to buy a battery, I need to buy a starter, and I need to buy a distributor. Distributor is going to be the cheapest of the three things, so that's probably be the first thing I buy. The reason why I haven't moved forward with buying any more parts is because I'm still paying for my single cam rods, and here shortly I'm going to be paying another chunk of money to a guy that's sending me a crank. So there's that. He's donating the crank, but the shipping costs $30, so I still got to cover that. And yeah, I could go out and I could fool around with the GSR some more, but at the end of the day, I mean, what all am I really doing? You know, I don't really plan on having it tuned up here, so mocking up the turbo intercooler and all that stuff isn't like a high priority for me. Right now, I just need to do the essentials to get it running, and I can't do that without a starter, battery, and distributor. So even if I go out there and put on the T-bracket and mock up the wire harness, I can't go any further than that. I'm not saying I'm not going to do that here soon, especially if the weather holds the way it's been recently. But right now, my highest priority is finishing these engine builds. That way, once they're assembled, then it's easier to, I don't know, man. Like, I always put my priority on the engines over the car. Like, that's why you know, eventually when I get back to Florida, I want to team up with somebody who can just do swaps, because I fucking hate it. It was fun in the beginning when I was learning how to do shit with cars, but now it's just a tedious, unfun hassle. I'd rather deal with the engines. So the engines are the main canvas for me, not the car itself. So once I get that assembled, and then I can happily focus back on finishing the Integra. And another thing is too, guys, is like, now if you watch the Instagram, you see that the CSS block is on the stand, everything is laid out. All I need to do is gap rings and put that together. So that won't take me much time. So as long as I can motivate myself sometime during the week, which I might not, because I have been skipping out on sit-down videos like this, and I miss doing that. So I might just do a bunch of these videos this week and then go back to doing the engine assembly on the weekend. And even if I do the assembly on the weekend, I might not film it all. Like like I said, I'm done with the technical shit. I don't think I'm going to do step-by-step. I think I'm just going to make an overview video that's quick, 5 minutes, just to show you what it looks like. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, so I really am going to go balls deep on this K20. I've said a bunch of times I want a K24, but I really also want an NA series. I really want to try for the Super K, see how close I can get to 300 on pump. So eventually what I'm going to do is get a K24, K20 head for an NA build, but I will go with the K20 block just because I have so many, or just because I'm going to have multiples to go for my boost setup. Plus it's a 5-speed tranny, you know, that's really the big deciding factor. If this was a 6-speed tranny, then this would be an NAK all day, but it's not, it's 5 speeds, so we're gonna go boost. And that's what everybody likes anyway. Plus, you know, I always like to go boost. Boost is my the funnest route to go. All right, so anyway, the whole plan is this weekend. When I talked to Buddy last weekend, I was talking about, well, UFC 220 is up, so I'm not coming down this weekend. There's no way in hell I'm going to risk missing a pay-per-view. There's a fight night this weekend coming. I don't want to miss it, but there's not really much I can do about it. I think there's another pay-per-view event after that. So what I'm going to do is a 6-hour drive for me, so I'm going to leave at like 10 o'clock in the morning, go down there. Buddy's told me he's going to help me out by splitting taking the transmission off, taking the head off, so I can strip out my trunk down to bare metal, maybe put some plastic in, and then I'm going to just put it all in there in pieces because my truck is gone. See, this guy, I've talked to this guy months and months ago when I was dealing with my truck problems. I said, let me finish the truck, and I'll come down there and get it, and it never happened because I got rid of the truck. So now I'm just going to strip out my car's trunk and put it in there in pieces. It's not the first time I've hauled multiple engines in that car. So yeah, I'm more than confident that this is all going to fit once it's broken down. So go down there and drive 6 hours, pick up the swap. I'm going to drive a little ways back as far as I can get before the fight night starts around 7 o'clock. So I figure I'll stop in a hotel, and if they don't have FS1 on the TV, I'll bring my laptop and I'll Hulu it up and stream the fight. So Saturday night I'll still be stopped somewhere in a hotel watching the fight pass, or watching the fights, and then I'll finish the trip home the next day. So yeah, that's the plan for this weekend coming. It's gonna be a road trip. It's gonna be going to Raleigh, North Carolina, guys. If any of you happen to be along the route and you want to make a link up or whatnot, I'm down for that. That's cool. I like to meet more of you guys. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to let you guys know the plan, and I am gonna go commit with a K20. And props to dude for sticking with it, because I've reported like months ago. I think I can safe to say months ago at this point. It's before Christmas. So a month and a half ago, or a month ago at least, there's the guy down in Tampa that told me he's going to give me a nitrous kit, and he didn't do it, and that's cool. I don't mind that he didn't do it. It's not like I was in a rush to do nitrous or anything. But the only thing is that, some people tell me a bunch of times they're going to do something and they don't do it. And then with his case, he asked me to announce it. I announced it and then didn't follow through. So it kind of looked fucking stupid. So I was a little nervous about announcing this going to pick up the swap, because he said it one time, but who knows if he's actually going to follow through. And then he hit me up again months later to remind me that it's still there, and then, and as an opportunity I don't want to miss. So after I've just come back from a longer road trip than this, I feel completely comfortable taking this on the weekend. So yeah, here I am going super far out of my way to pick up a swap. But we're gonna get it done. It's gonna happen. It's probably not gonna run until definitely sometime in the next year. But the biggest hurdle, guys, is just going to be getting the crank. And I'm not even going to say the crank, because the crank is more or less affordable, because it's on the same price range as the rods, most likely. But the biggest hurdle is just going to be getting pistons. Once I get pistons, the rest of it should start to kind of fall into place. And once I get the block assembled, it's just a matter of time before I get the rest of it done. So hopefully we'll be seeing this K-Series build next year. And maybe even sooner. Who knows? If I get back to Florida relatively soon, or early in the summer, and I get back to work quick enough, then who knows the extra money I could potentially bring in, and then this will happen a lot faster. But I just want you guys to rest assured, though, the Integra, even though it's taking me a super long time, will get done before I leave here. I kind of got no choice. Because if I don't fucking finish and have it driving on its own power, I'm going to be in some trouble when it comes time for me to pull that car out of here. Alright guys, thanks for watching. It kind of went a little bit more time than I wanted. But yeah, just thought I'd give you all an update. Peace. Thanks for watching.